All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We have Michelle Saniei. Did I get it?
You got it right.
Nailed it, from the Valley. So excited to have you in. Just have to start off. You look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I'm in New York, so I gotta dress it up.
The outfit is amazing. And good for you, because it is gross in New York right now.
I didn't realize it was going to be raining and kind of gloomy.
I know. Well, I'm so excited that you're here. Rhea, my co-host, and I are obsessed with the Valley. She's on her honeymoon right now.
Aww.
So she's having a blast, and but I know she's ready to catch up on these episodes. But we have there's so much to talk about. How are you feeling watching this season back already? Just the first few episodes are so intense.
It was hard to rewatch. I mean, it was a hard time last summer, and I finally moved forward and moved on. Yeah. And then as soon as I watched it, I got all of the feelings back. So I'm just trying to remember, it happened months and months ago, and I'm just trying to move forward.
What's that feeling like, having that in-between time when you do move on with your life, you do move on, what do you think about? Oh gosh, it's is it nervous energy before the show comes out?
Yes, it is, because we don't get to see it. We just saw it recently, so it's you continue your life and you're you don't know what it's going to look like after all, and then you rewatch it. So it is a very interesting and unusual dynamic.
Yeah. I want to go back pre the Valley, where it's what were you doing? Because I know they talk about your real estate business a lot on the show, but we don't really get full glimpses of it. So what was life like pre the Valley?
Yeah, and I wish that in the future you get to see that, because that was really my world. Yeah. I always knew I was going to be in business. My family was in business. I got a marketing and finance degree, so it was I always knew I wanted to sell houses. So I started doing that as soon as I graduated from university. I was about 22 and I sold 19 houses in my first year. So all I ever knew was sales and buying and selling in the real estate market. I never in a million years ever imagined I would do something like this. Ever.
How did that even happen then for you? Because I know it does feel like a lot of you were Vanderpump adjacent, really, friendly with a lot of that cast. Is that kind of how the Valley formed for you?
Well, so Jesse and Jax used to be roommates in New York over 20 years ago. They had a falling out. They didn't speak for a very long time. And when Jesse and I believe we were married, he reconnected with Jax and I met Brittany. And the moment I met Brittany, we clicked. Yeah. We were very similar in a lot of ways. And we would just spend a lot of time with Jax and Brittany. And Brittany loves to throw parties, have people over her house. So I just organically was meeting everybody, and little by little, I became close with Sheena. I became close with Kristen. I just became in that world. And once I had a baby, they mentioned, would you ever want to do something like that? And I was just so I had a 6-month-old baby. I didn't really think it was going to happen. I was just put our names in there. And then finally, it just really became a reality that we were going to do it.
What were the conversations like with Jesse at that time about joining the show? Because I think watching reality TV, it's when you see couples decide to do reality TV, you think, wow, what is that foundation like? Because reality TV is so hard, and then it's so much scrutiny and all those things. Yeah. Was there any nerves about your relationship when deciding to do the show?
So when we were first pitched the show, Isabella was a baby. She was still really young, and I was very lonely at the time. And so things were bad, but they weren't that bad. He was just not present. And so, one, I didn't think it was going to happen. And then when I realized it was kind of green lit in the beginning, they're like, you're going to start in a few months. Honestly, I was a little naive about it. I had never watched reality TV. I thought I could kind of hide that part of our relationship. I was happy to be open, we have problems, but I was also very confused. I had no idea at that point whether I was going to move forward or not. Like I was in that in-between stage every day, going back and forth. And like it takes a lot of courage to make that decision. And at that time, before season 1, I didn't know if I was going to do it.
So it's interesting then, because it's like you share so much now on the show. So how was that change for you? Because you can really tell when people on reality TV are holding stuff back, because people dig and they find what's happening. But it feels like you guys have been extremely open about now what went down in your relationship. So did something change for you to be like, you know what, we're sharing it all?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously watched season 1 and I understand. I'm looking at myself and I know what I was thinking in that moment, but I was like, I'm not going to say it. And I also didn't know how it worked. And I was just going through so much. My mom was also really sick. And so it was just a combination of like me dealing with my stuff internally. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm on reality TV, I have to speak about my problems. And so I had to grow as a person as well to be able to be open. And so I kind of am still learning to be open.
When you started to film the second season and had to be back in all these social settings with Jesse, how did you mentally prepare for those moments?
So naive of me, I thought like I got so much hate on season 1 about all of these accusations and things about me that I was like, I did the hard part. It can only get better from here. Like, what more can happen to me? What more can be said about me? Like, so I thought that it would be okay. And actually, before filming, Jesse and I sat down and had a conversation. And I said, you know, for the sake of our daughter, let's keep certain things private or not discuss it, and like let's try to co-parent well. And so we kind of made that agreement, and as soon as cameras picked up, he threw everything out the window, and I was very angry about that, but I've learned to move on from it.
That is true. It does feel like immediately the accusations from him started flying. Watching it back, are you learning new things of what he was saying in his confessionals and things like that, and of cheating accusations and all these things that he's throwing around?
For me, it was very hurtful and sad, because the reality is he knew the truth, but he wanted to paint me and have this picture of like I'm this awful person, and because I cheated and cheated and cheated and cheated, and that's all he can say and think of, and obviously that's very disappointing.
Yeah. Jesse did say that you had told him that there was one instance. Was that actually correct?
There was a small little incident. I actually tried to leave him a year prior. And so I was already done mentally. Yep. I had already asked for a divorce. I had found an apartment, and he begged me back. And so I gave it another shot. Yeah. So yes, you know, Jesse likes to say that people have a moment of weakness, and Jesse always has a moment of weakness. Well, I had my moment of weakness as well. Yeah. And I just felt like it was not the time and place, and I was just digesting a lot, and like I never got my truth or my worth. Everybody was just making up things.
What did you think of the whole you were going on hikes, but really it's because Aaron's how he had the honey and you were bringing the honey home, and that's how he was connecting the dots on that something was happening with you and Aaron?
I was cracking up, and I'm like, I hope people can see that and just like laugh. Yeah. Because yes, I knew Aaron before. That is very clear. You know, who Jesse is with now, he knew prior to our marriage. That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. And I tell him, I'm like, if I was like trying to do something crazy, I wouldn't be bringing home the honey. I had nothing to hide. Like, I did like the honey. It was sold at Runyon, which is a hiking trail nearby. I never wore makeup. I only wear makeup for like press and stuff, but like my day-to-day, I wear zero makeup. I wear no makeup. That was like complete false. And the ring thing, at that time in LA was very dangerous. People were getting like robbed and stuff. And I had a very big and expensive diamond. And I'm like walking down Sunset Boulevard, and I'm like, and I'm hiking. Like, I don't wear my ring.
Exercising.
Exactly.
Really,
and he says the same thing. Like, he didn't wear his ring. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So it was, to me, very comical. And I hope that, like, viewers can see that that's a little extreme.
It was a bit of a stretch. There was also some stuff with Kristen where she, we heard what she said last season. It was she had a boyfriend for a year, but then she was like, "Oh, I meant a year ago." Like, it's just like she changed her words around a little bit.
Yeah, apparently she has a big problem with that.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, how did it feel to hear her be like, "Oh, I misspoke," and and it wasn't Aaron.
I don't think she realized like the damage she did to me and my marriage. Not that I'm blaming Kristen. I was going to get divorced regardless. She just didn't help the situation, and I didn't know until I watched the episode that she said that I had a boyfriend for 2 years. And like, that's really big to say because I did not have a boyfriend, period. So she apologized then, and it took me a lot of time. Like, I needed a lot of space. I'm a type of person that, normally if you do something bad to me, I will just forgive and never talk to you again. But with Kristen, I have worked on trying to move on. So we are cordial. I see her and we can have conversations. We're just not super close.
Right. Because especially since what we're watching right now, it feels a little, as she says, Team Jessie is like kind of that in between. I got to talk about Dave and Buster's because that party was one, hilarious in itself because, everyone's at Dave and Buster's, but it really, it took a turn. Jesse's planning this trip to Santa Barbara. What was going through your mind when you were like, you know what, I'm gonna have everyone vote him off the island?
That was very dumb of me. If I could go back and undo that, I would. Okay. It was a weak moment. It's also like, I was devastated because that was the first time I had heard that. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I am now called a hooker on national TV. Yeah, right. Forever, there will be people questioning that. There will be articles. And like, it just went all in my head. And I was also going through, like, my mom was in chemo and it was very severe at that time. So like, of course I'm gonna cry. I'm a human being. Like, how would you feel if somebody said that about you?
Immediately lash out. I would. It's like, it's such a crazy accusation. The boys' chat seems like a terrible place.
It's horrible. It's one of the things I hated about my marriage because he was just 24/7 on his phone on the boys' chat, and it's just gross and unnecessary.
That's so crazy to me. I'm like, they're all
adults.
Grown adult men.
Yeah, it's horrible.
With children, and it's like a boys' chat where they just
talk about women
and their wives. And
I mean, Jessie has said some horrible things about me on that boys' chat that I later found out. And it's not nice to hear.
No, it's definitely not. So I don't blame you at all for being like, I do not want to go on a trip.
And I shouldn't have gone, but everybody, all my girls were like, you have to come. And of course I want to go to Santa Barbara. And it was just very naive of me. I did think in the moment, like, he should stay at a hotel.
He planned the trip. So everyone says he planned the trip, so that makes him in charge, I guess, right? Like, I don't know. I do feel like it's a battle in that scenario because you're in the same group of friends.
Yeah, we all have to be together.
So it's like, but do you think there was a fight almost to be like, well, I'm not going to be the one to not go to the group events?
In my head, I was just not thinking, but at the end of the day, I was just like, he's the one that called me a hooker. Like, why should I not go? I mean, I get it now, but if I could go back, I would.
Yeah. I watched this most recent episode. So this is, as everyone's listening, it'll be last night's episode where you guys do go to Santa Barbara. And there was like a full healing ceremony.
Everybody thought it was very funny. Yeah. I enjoyed it because...
Did you?
Yeah. I know it's either or. It's like, you think it's bullshit or like you think it's helpful. I do like crystals and healers and stuff like that.
Did you think Jesse was gonna buy into all of it or not? Because he was sitting there like, I don't want to participate.
I mean, you see that he's on vacation, right? So he starts drinking champagne very early and throughout the day. So I don't really understand his mood. I just know he had been drinking all day, and we were obviously both going through a lot. And that's one of the reasons why I went up to him, because I heard that his well-being and his mind wasn't so well. So like I went to check on him, because I'm like, even though I don't like you at the moment and I hate you, like you need to be okay, because your daughter needs you.
Yeah. When he tried to hand you that white flag, what did you think?
That pissed me off. It's like, why don't you start with an apology first? Just say I'm sorry. But instead, like, if anybody needs the white flag, it's you.
Do you think a little bit of him, and this is just from a viewer standpoint, that Jax was away and in rehab, that Jesse was kind of like, I'm gonna step up to be like the head guy of the group?
No, I just think you got to see a glimpse of who he was. That's like who I was married to, and he had a lot of ups and downs, and I think you just get to see that.
Yeah. You said, which everybody was like, whoa, that says a lot. You had a line where you were like, Jesse was so much worse than Jax.
I hate the way it sounds. I was not trying to compare. I love Brittany. Everybody has their own situation. And if you ask Brittany, she'll probably say her divorce is going the worst. And I will say the same thing about mine. Like, we all have different experiences. What I don't like is that people know Jax and they've seen him throughout the years.
Yep.
And the reality is nobody actually knows Jesse. People don't know that side because we haven't been on reality TV for a decade. So I'm not trying to compare whatsoever. Like, what Brittany is going through is intense. I can't even imagine, and the drugs and all of that. Yeah. But was Jesse in a similar place at one point? Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. And he... Because we have seen so much of Jax's journey, we're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense of where he is at now from what we have watched in the past. Yeah. And we haven't seen, I think what we've seen of Jesse is him trying to paint a really pretty picture.
And that's another thing that kind of upsets me, because Jax is just Jax. Like, he's not the smartest guy ever. And one thing about Jesse is, like, he plans everything.
It's way more calculated.
He's very calculated. He can be charming. He can put like a front on, and he can deceive people to think a certain way. And that's where I'm like, you know, that is much harder to deal with a person like that. And that's what I really mean.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I think that makes a lot of sense, that we're very used to. It sounds bad, but I think fans of the show or Vanderpump, they're very used to seeing Jax like this. And it's a different scenario with some of these other guys. What was the feeling amongst the women? Because when this teaser came out for the season, it was just like, oh, these husbands are down bad. Like, everybody's getting into trouble. Everybody's doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. What were the ladies all kind of saying when they saw that?
I mean, honestly, it was so much.
Yeah.
Last summer, we all had to go through something severe. I think there are some great guys, great husbands, but I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. You guys also do the after show, which is a lot of fun to watch, because I feel like it's a whole nother show, really. You get so much more information of everything that's going on. And you've been very open on the after show kind of about where your relationship is now and these things that Jesse's been saying. So when do you say, like, you know what? Let's talk about the money things. Like, let's talk about the money stuff, because that can be, and Jesse's like, that's so personal. I'm not talking about the money stuff.
Well, that was one of the things that we discussed, but he threw everything out the window from day one, and he just kept doing it. And I was still being reserved at times and just not saying anything. But the reality is, I left Jesse for multiple reasons, and multiple big reasons. And one of them was financial problems and things that he did to cause the stress in our family. And so I had kept that, and I do think, like, somewhat it should be private. But at the end of the day, like, you're doing all of this to me. Like, what am I protecting you? The reality is, like, you did spend a lot of money. You were gone every day. You did spend so much money on wine and this and that. And you're not supposed to do that when you're married. You're not supposed to just throw money away and like not think about your family.
Yeah. And you guys worked really closely together, right? Just within in your real estate business.
We were business partners, so we worked with all our clients. We did everything. But once I had a baby, it was COVID. And so we didn't have, his family's in Boston. My siblings are in San Diego. So there was no help. We didn't have nannies or anything like that. So I did everything on my own. And I had said, like, I want to be a stay-home mom. So I basically kind of stopped working for a while. And once things came back up, Jesse continued to enjoy life and have 6-hour lunches and get back home late. And he was just gone all the time. And it was not like to try to work hard to provide.
Right. Do you think he was trying to just put out that he was living this sort of lavish lifestyle and have that be his persona? Like, wow, look at him, he's doing so well, and all the things, he's buying all these extravagant things to show how great he's doing.
Well, he's always kind of been like that. He's always like the luxury lifestyle. And we did sell to very wealthy individuals. So he wanted to mimic, like, I want to be like you guys, even though we're not like you guys. And so that was the problem. He was always spending more than he should.
Yeah.
And that's I say that, you can't be married to a gambler. Like, you can't be married to these big issues that he had while we were married.
Yeah. When you're doing the after show, is it fun to kind of have the addition of the Vanderpump squad kind of in the mix? Because I know socially you guys are all together a lot and we don't see them on TV now, so it's fun to kind of see their input in what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, well, Sheena and I are super close. Ever since I sold her a house and then our daughters hang out, we just like throughout the years have gotten closer and closer. So she's one of my bestest friends. So she understands, dealing with Jesse. Like, she's one of the people that I text and like she's very supportive with me. So I love that I got to be with Sheena and Janet during that time because they know exactly what I'm going through and it has not been easy.
Exactly. It was quite the teaser for part 2 of Santa Barbara that we're going to see next week. Potential, looks like drink thrown. And then was Santa Barbara like a big moment for you guys where it's like things kind of shifted after that trip, or they were just...
I mean, that was a very hard trip. I tried my best to not speak to him and be as far apart and not like engage. And I tried my very best. Kristen had actually told me, like, Jesse's not doing well. He said some like really dark things about himself. And that is really the only reason why I went up to his room to check for his well-being. And immediately when I did that, I regret it because he just like turned on me and said some awful things about me. And I just couldn't take it anymore. So I might have thrown a glass of wine.
There might be a little part of that in the tease. So I mean, it has been crazy to watch. I know it's probably wild for people to say like, wow, the show's so entertaining and everyone loves watching it, when it's like, okay, that's probably some of the most traumatic moments are now being filmed for everyone to watch.
It's been hard.
What is your way to kind of escape all the noise from the drama of the show? Like, how do you kind of get back into Michelle mode?
I think self-care is very important. I walk every day and that really helps me. I try to stay away from the comments and the social media and stuff. And I have a beautiful relationship with my boyfriend and my daughter. So I just try to focus on that when I have her.
That is great. And I also saw you're in the podcast game yourself.
I just joined. I'm with iHeart. It's called Pursuit of Sassiness because I felt like doing everything I'm doing now, I had to become sassy. And I think you get to see that in the season.
Yep, definitely. So that's great. And you're having guests on and conversations like that and showing more of yourself on that platform.
Yeah, and I didn't want it to just be about the show. I wanted people to know who I am, and everything that I'm doing the last couple of years is really out of my comfort zone. And all I am, pursuit of happiness was the first thing I thought of. So I wanted to kind of open it up to talk about like divorce attorneys, co-parenting, just like all the topics, what it's like raising a daughter. Yeah,
exactly. No, that's great. And I think a lot of people can relate to that and it's info that a lot of people don't talk about. Like it's a little more under the table kind of thing.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything, and like I wished I had listened to other podcasts to know about like if you're thinking about divorce, what is the first thing you should do? Yeah, and I also want to show a lot more of my real estate. I just had Ryan Serhant come on. Yeah, so I think it's going to be really fun and interesting.
That's amazing, and everyone can listen to that wherever they get their podcasts.
Yes.
And of course, tune into The Valley Tuesday nights, Bravo, 9:00 Eastern. Like I said, it's crazy drama between everyone's relationship. Really, it's
everybody. It's the entire season. It's just not like it's not just one or two episodes. It's full blown craziness.
It is crazy because it's like a lot of these reality shows, one or two couples I feel get the main spotlight. And with The Valley, everybody's got something.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something. So it's very entertaining to watch, like I said. But, kudos to you for really putting this all out on TV because it's intense.
Thank you. Yeah. And I hope that like once the divorce is done, we can just co-parent and like be in the same room.
You're not finalized, friends. Right?
We're not. He said he wants to finally move forward. So I'm like, actions speak louder than words.
Let's do it.
Once I hear that. But I honestly believe that we will be friends one day.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Right. Definitely. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming in and talking to me.
All right.